Hollywood is buzzing once again, and this time the spotlight has turned to Sydney Sweeney, one of the brightest rising stars in recent years, who now finds herself surrounded by headlines claiming she's been blacklisted in the very industry that helped launch her into global stardom. The whispers of tension and career roadblocks have exploded into trending news, leaving fans and critics alike asking, how did one of the most promising actresses in Hollywood suddenly find herself fighting to hold her place in the spotlight? This controversy has struck a nerve, not only because of Sydney's popularity, but also because it raises bigger questions about how the entertainment industry handles controversy, personal choices, and the fine balance between image and opportunity. The current buzz began when reports emerged that Hollywood insiders were quietly distancing themselves from Sydney Sweeney, pointing to a series of controversies that allegedly made her more difficult to book for major projects. At the center of it is the claim that she has become too polarizing, a phrase that can be a career killer in a business so heavily focused on public image. Sydney, best known for her breakout roles in Euphoria and The White Lotus, had long been praised for her versatility and charisma, but over the last year, her name has increasingly been tied to negative press. One of the sparks came from her association with a controversial ad campaign. Sydney had been tapped for an American Eagle campaign, something that seemed like a perfect match given her youthful fanbase and mainstream appeal. However, the campaign was blasted by critics who accused it of being tone-deaf, and the backlash quickly turned personal. Instead of targeting the brand itself, much of the heat was directed at Sydney, with some saying she should have been more selective in the projects she endorsed. While celebrities endorse products all the time, Sydney found herself in the middle of an online firestorm that magnified every move she made. Adding fuel to the speculation were rumors of a close relationship between Sydney and music executive Scooter Braun, whose name has become divisive in Hollywood following the very public disputes with Taylor Swift. The whispers suggested that Sydney's association with Braun was not just personal, but could also be influencing her career choices. For some fans, the mere idea of siding with someone painted as an antagonist in Taylor Swift's long-running music battle was enough to stir outrage. In a world where fandoms are powerful and loyalty is scrutinized, Sydney's alleged connection with Braun was viewed as a dangerous misstep, regardless of whether or not the relationship had any real professional impact. On top of this, Sydney has faced scrutiny for comments she made about the atmosphere in Hollywood, particularly when she suggested that the industry had become too woke and overly sensitive. While some praised her honesty and willingness to say what others might be thinking, many in Hollywood did not appreciate the critique. Insiders reportedly felt her words alienated potential collaborators who are focused on inclusivity and careful messaging in the entertainment landscape. In a town where networking and public image are everything, remarks that rub the wrong people the wrong way can have lasting consequences. Complicating matters further, some of Sydney's recent projects have not performed as well as expected at the box office. While she remains a bankable star, several films fell short of expectations, and in Hollywood, momentum can make or break a career. A couple underwhelming numbers, combined with the controversies swirling around her, have been enough to paint her as a riskier investment in the eyes of studios. When executives weigh whether to attach a star to a multi-million-dollar project, they consider not only talent, but also audience reception. And right now, the conversation about Sydney has shifted from breakout star to public relations liability. It's important to note, however, that Sydney still commands a huge fan base. On social media, her followers remained fiercely loyal, defending her at every turn, and pointing out the double standards at play. Many argue that male actors are rarely held to the same level of scrutiny over personal choices, brand deals, or off-the-cuff remarks. Fans are quick to highlight that while Sydney is being labeled as blacklisted, many of her controversies are relatively mild compared to scandals that other Hollywood stars have weathered. This has sparked a broader conversation about how women in Hollywood have judged, and whether Sydney's situation is another example of the industry policing women more harshly than their male counterparts. What makes Sydney's story particularly compelling is how quickly her narrative has shifted. Just a short time ago, she was hailed as the next big thing, a rising actress with critical acclaim, beauty, and the kind of star power that could carry both blockbuster films and prestige television. Now, headlines are dominated by speculation about her career stalling and whispers that she is being quietly shut out of major opportunities. The speed at which Hollywood can turn on its stars is shocking and telling, serving as a reminder of how fragile fame can be when combined with public scrutiny. At the same time, this controversy is also sparking debates among fans about authenticity versus image. Some say Sydney should not apologize for being herself and making her own choices, whether in endorsements, relationships, or personal opinions. Others argue that being a celebrity means being mindful of how every move will be received, and that staying relevant in Hollywood requires carefully curating your image. Sydney's story is becoming a test case in this larger cultural conversation. Can a star survive and thrive by being unapologetically real, or does success demand conformity to Hollywood's unwritten rules? Industry insiders are also weighing in, with some saying the claims of her being blacklisted are exaggerated. They argue that Sydney is still working, still taking projects, and that the Hollywood rumor mill often inflates small controversies into major scandals. However, others note that perception is everything, and even the idea that she's been labeled as difficult or too controversial can cause damage. Casting directors and producers are notoriously cautious, and sometimes rumors alone are enough to tip the scales against a star when roles are being filled. Sydney herself has not publicly addressed the blacklisted narrative in detail, leaving fans and media to speculate about where she stands. Some believe she is intentionally staying quiet to let the storm pass, while others wonder if she'll eventually speak out to set the record straight. Silence, however, can sometimes create its own problems, as people begin to fill in the gaps with their own theories. In the age of social media, every post, every photo, and every public appearance is analyzed for hidden meaning, and Sydney is no exception. As of now, Sydney Sweeney's future in Hollywood remains uncertain. On one hand, she's still a massive name with undeniable talent, beloved by a large fan base, and capable of drawing audiences. On the other hand, the combination of controversies, public perception, and underperforming projects could create real obstacles for her career trajectory. Whether or not the term blacklisted is fully accurate, it's clear that Sydney is navigating one of the most challenging periods of her professional life. The bigger picture is that her situation shines a light on how volatile Hollywood can be for women, especially those who are still carving out their legacy. The expectations placed on female stars are often impossible to meet, demanding that they be flawless, politically correct, universally loved, and commercially successful all at once. When they fall short in even one area, the backlash can be swift and severe. Sydney's current drama is more than just gossip. It's a case study in how quickly Hollywood builds up its stars and how just as quickly it can begin to tear them down. For now, Sydney remains in the headlines, with every move watched closely by fans, critics, and industry insiders alike. Whether she rebounds stronger than ever or continues to face challenges will depend not just on her talent, but also on how she and her team navigate the shifting sands of public perception. What's certain is that her story is far from over, and Hollywood loves a comeback just as much as it loves a scandal. And with that, if you've made it this far into the drama surrounding Sydney Sweeney and the ongoing speculation about her being blacklisted, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Do you think Hollywood is being too hard on her, or is this the price of fame in today's world? Either way, stay tuned because this story is only getting started and you won't want to miss what happens next.